Be yourself. That's cool. You're cool with me, I'm cool with you. That's how most people are. But as soon as you bring our kids into this, that's where you're gonna bring into it.
Biden's guilty of the exact same issue.
Why he wants to cozy up to Alex Jones.
Of course it does.
This dude don't have to cozy up to anybody. And that make them so hot. They are so upset about that. So I got this video that was sent to me. It's a video of Black Conservative Perspective. And he is talking about when Joe Rogan declared Trump and Tucker at the UFC fight. Let's go and check this out, man. Hopefully y'all are well. Shout out to Black Conservative Perspective.
When he walked out of Madison Square Garden, it was bananas.
Really?
It
Went
was,
crazy.
the whole place was cheering. He walks out to Kid Rock's American Badass with Kid Rock and Tucker Carlson walking in like the right-wing Avengers. And the place went nuts. I'm telling you, the cheers of the crowd were nuts. I mean, it was overwhelmingly in support of him, and it lasted a long time.
Look at the American Badass, man. Kid Rock. I remember when he shook the place up when he started to stand by the country and stand by the Constitution. You want to talk about someone who lost some friendships in Hollywood? Kid Rock was another one because he decided to take a stand for the Constitution, and a lot of people were against it. And I never even noticed this, man. Did y'all notice that Trump got on red, white, and blue? Get out of here, man. That is so dope. Never paid attention. He got on red, white, and blue, man. See, that's psychology right there. That right there, get into your head, be like, yeah, I'm wearing the flag right now. I'm showing y'all how to wear a flag. And my man that owned the UFC, my brother got on all black, got on black everything, like he going to a funeral, man.
I mean, it was a roar. I mean, you had to hear what the crowd sounded like before he walked in. And then he did. I mean, it was just overwhelming cheers for like over a minute. I mean, just imagine a minute of people screaming at the top of their lungs. Yeah.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Joe Rogan, who just recently declared that Trump, Don Jr., Tucker, Dana White, and Kid Rock, etc., walking out together at a UFC match was like watching the right-wing Avengers. And I can't lie to you guys, he might got a point here, okay? I mean, I'm just saying, if I had to imagine a right-wing Avengers, again, I'm not sure.
He said if I had to imagine one, it would probably be them. I don't know, though. I wouldn't put Kid Rock in there as one of the right ones. Yeah, because he'd be the cool one. He'd be the cool one walking in with a beer, just now smoked a J outside or something. Him and Dana White, I think him and Dana was just now outside smoking the J. They was outside earlier, they were smoking with each other. And then next thing you know, and Tucker probably even got in on that. I don't think Trump got in on it, though. Trump was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want no weed. I know, I'm horrible with voices, man.
If I could create a better group than that group, right? Trump, Dana White, Kid Rock, Tucker, okay, all walking out, Don Jr. walking out together at a UFC match. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, especially considering how Kid Rock apparently is out here confronting the CEO of Bud Light / Anheuser-Busch about them pushing the woke radical left agenda on children.
Speaking of that UFC fight, I'm standing there with our favorite president,
right,
and someone comes over to like the CEO of Anheuser-Busch standing right behind you.
Right.
So I go to the POTUS, I'm like, hey, that's the CEO of Anheuser-Busch. Trump's like, you want to go talk to him? I'm like, I do. So me and him go over. We actually had a great conversation.
Really?
Because, you know, if you put this in context, why did this start? It's like, you know, I told him that night, I go,
man, Kid Rock is cooler than a mother effer, man. If you look up cooler than a mother effer in the dictionary and Wikipedia, you Google cooler than a mother effer, you're going to see Kid Rock show up just like this. And this exact same pose is going to be just like this. Bow.
You signaled to a lot of people like myself, like-minded people. Put the trans thing aside for a minute, right? I was like, but by sending that can to the trans kid, you kind of signaled to us you support this lifestyle, and more importantly, like men being in women's sports or in my granddaughter's locker room. Most of us draw a hard line right there. Nah. What are you
have
doing?
A granddaughter. You're like 40,
2 grandkids.
You're like 42 years old. Well, go ahead.
It gets cold in Detroit, Sean.
Yeah, I guess it does.
So I said, you signaled that to us. I said, but speaking of, I was like, if someone wants to be trans, I was like, I didn't rip that kid. I said, F you guys.
I know y'all not gonna like this, man, but Kid Rock got the swag of a hip hop artist. He don't have the swag of no rock star. He ain't got no swag of no country singer. He got swag of a hip hop artist, bro. He do. And don't act like he ain't got bars. He do all day long. His whole attitude is hip hop. Listen, we can go back and forth all day. I hear what you're saying, but I ain't buying it. I'm thinking that his swag is hip hop swag. Would you say his swag is? Well, I say it's hip hop swag. I hear you. Listen, we can just agree to disagree.
I said, I didn't even say boycott or cancel. I said, F you. I said, what are you doing? Injecting yourself into this conversation, these polarizing social issues. I was like, you could be doing so much more positive stuff, just making us laugh and drink beer. But I said, someone wants to dress up like a girl, they want to be transgender or whatever. A lot of people fought and died for them to do that. Go for it.
You hear that, right? He said, if you want to be whatever you want to be, listen, you have the right to do it. That's another right that you have, being that people have fought and died for your rights. Do it. You have those liberties.
We can coexist, in public places. You might not be my first dinner invite, you know what I mean? And I'm probably not yours. And if you're gay, no one cares anymore, right? We all got gay family members, gay friends, gay co-workers. It's like, cut it out. Just be gay.
Yeah, that's the whole, everybody's gay nowadays.
But I'm not going to clap louder for you.
You know what I hear you saying? You believe in freedom.
Yeah.
But if you want to indoctrinate kids in school.
That's right. I tell my, let me say this to the trans and gay community right now. Be yourself. That's cool. You're cool with me. I'm cool with you. That's what most people are. But as soon as you bring our kids into this, that's where you're going to bring into it.
Yeah, so allegedly, you have Trump and Kid Rock, according to Kid Rock, confronting the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light, right? About, hey, we believe that you are supporting an agenda that we just don't support being pushed on children, right? I mean, again, that to me seems like something a right-wing Avenger would do. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. I don't think Joe Rogan is too inaccurate there, okay? But it's commentary like that that really makes the lefties and their heads explode when it comes to Joe Rogan, because really the guy is more of an independent. He's not really left-wing or right-wing. I mean, if anything, I would probably classify him as a classical liberal, right? But because he doesn't 100% agree with the left, more specifically the far left, he gets a whole lot of backlash, okay? Because, Joe Rogan used to be public enemy number 2. Now, we know public enemy number 1 is Trump, okay? I think Joe Rogan now is public enemy number 3 because Elon Musk has become public enemy number 2.
So where's Candace land on that? Public enemy.
But regardless, Joe Rogan still receives quite a bit of backlash because he questions the official narrative that, hey, apparently is a right-wing thing, right? It is right-wing for you to not only disagree with the left, but to question the establishment narrative. Again, conversations like this is what really piss liberals off. Like, for example, Joe Rogan basically saying the obvious about how a lot of people, Trump supporters, other people included, believe that the prosecutions against Trump are political.
Yeah. And the people that love Trump, they feel like this is a witch hunt, and they feel like all the things he's getting indicted for are anyway. Not only does it not work, but it kind of hardens their position that he's being targeted, and that these are like the actions of a banana republic. You take your political rival and you arrest him, and specifically you charge him with things that you're guilty of. The documents, like the classified documents, Biden's guilty of the exact same issue.
Facts 1000%. And that right there is why people need to listen to what Trump is saying. The dude is just making comments. He's just making sense at this point. And he's probably been making sense, but I wasn't paying attention to him. I wasn't. Y'all was passing me along some of his videos where he was talking and whatnot, and I started paying attention myself, and I realized, dude is sharp. He's sharp. But the way he was painted out was that he was an imbecile. He was not smart. He was not ready for the job, presidency, all this other stuff. But when I listened to him more and more and more, realizing that he had the keys the entire time. He had the plan the entire time. He had the blueprint the entire time. If we would have done that, we would be in a much better place right now. But he actually said in that interview he was in, where he was speaking ad nauseum about it all, and he mentioned that, well, if this is fair play now, if I were to get into office and do the same exact thing, it will be okay, because they pretty much started it. They started it on me. So now, even though I will actually have a cause for going after them, where they didn't have a cause for going after me. I can do it now. It's fair play to go after your political opponents.
Yeah, so it's takes like that, in which Joe Rogan is simply pointing out a fact, which is that Trump supporters, well, a lot of Trump supporters, not just Trump supporters either, I mean, like independent thinking people believe that, hey, the prosecutions against Trump are political because people like Biden can do the exact same thing and they don't face the same consequences. I mean, just recently news came out that it's expected that the investigation into Biden for his classified document scandal is going to come to a close and they're not going to do anything, right? Which, again, is something that was completely obvious from the beginning that they were going to let Biden slide because, again, this is a two-tier justice system. Now, again, pointing this out apparently makes you a right-winger, okay? And it will spark rage and vitriol and anger from people like Kathy Griffin and Mary Trump. Mary Trump being somebody who would have no political career or nobody would give a damn about what she has to say unless she was the niece of the former president. And Kathy Griffin, who again is a washed-up left-wing comedian. Nobody cares what these people have to say. And they really that Joe Rogan can say things on his platform like that, and people do care what he has to say. Again, they hate it so much that they had a meltdown session together, a cry session over Joe Rogan's influence, particularly when it comes to straight males. Take a look.
And then I have some straights, not a lot, but I have some straight guys that, listen to Joe Rogan and think Joe Rogan's a doctor and stuff. And they will say stuff to me because when Rogan is your only exposure to the news, you're going to believe it. Yeah. And they'll say, RFK Jr., he's a big environmentalist and he stands up to big pharma. I'm like, yeah, 20 years ago. And when you even try to talk about the trial happening in New York court, they don't necessarily say fake news, but they kind of buy a little bit into the political persecution. And what scares me is I'm not just talking about Fox viewers. Like I said, I'm talking about, straight male comics, because I know too many of them. They really think Joe Rogan is the news. Politics are.
Well, they ain't good either, so.
Oh, and while I'm just crapping on Joe Rogan, because why wouldn't I crap on a guy with a giant audience? But anyway,
there you go.
I have to wonder, because when I first met him back in the day, he was a freaking road comic. Right. And he had a good act. He wasn't the best of the best. I don't think he would even say that, but he wasn't horrible. And then something happened where he decided to get all roided up. And I haven't seen him in many years, but the last time I saw him, I didn't even recognize him. And he became a UFC announcer, which is just, let's just take a minute. That's weird for a comic. I just want to say that we all kind of glossed over that because who in the world could have thought Joe Rogan would become an extremely powerful voice in politics and an influential voice, but he has $100 million a year contract, which has been reported. I've read in my newspapers that nobody reads anymore, but it's maybe 200 million. And I think that has to influence why he wants to cozy up to Alex Jones.
Of course it does.
Okay, he doesn't want to cozy up to Alex Jones. And the fact that you're going down the litany of accomplishments that Joe Rogan has, you're going down his resume, or he was a comedian, and then he started to be a UFC fight announcer, and then he got to this point in podcasting where he's this influential voice and blah, blah, blah. You sound like a hater, but the fact that she knows all that he does in his life, it shows that she's been following along. She said, I've seen him. I ran into him. I didn't even recognize him. Here's one thing. You recognize all of your Hollywood colleagues and comedians out there who get all of that Botox in their face and everything, but you don't recognize Joe Rogan, who's pretty much been the same for as long as he's been out. And when he was doing stand-up comedy, he was actually funnier than Kathy Griffin. And then on top of that, he was a huge UFC fight fan. He was a huge fighting fan. It was easy for him to move into that role because it was something that he had a passion for. It was something that he showed up to often, and he knew all of the fighters. He knew all of the fighting techniques. He fought and trained himself. So it makes sense. You say it does not make sense, but it makes perfect sense as to why he would do that. And then while he's doing that, you got to understand this too. He's already a comedian, so he knows how to write bits. He started doing commentating on the sports. He's getting his communication sharper and sharper and sharper. sharper. And then he decides to go the podcast route, just like everybody else started to do after the fact, but he beat everybody to the punch. And he had the right idea before a lot of people. You're on a podcast right now with Mary L. Trump. What the hell has she done? What has she done with her podcast? Everybody, most people that are on podcasts right now heard or know of Joe Rogan. Most comedians don't know of Kathy Griffin. Not trying to throw shade or anything like that, because I have seen Kathy Griffin do some comedy before inside of TV shows and stuff like that, where she was, she was funny. She give you a chuckle and whatnot, but I never sit there and looked at any of her stand-up comedy or anything. Not to say she's not funny, but for her to try to poop on him at this point, the dude has made relationships with everybody. He has friendships and relationships with everybody that you can name. Every big name that you can name, this dude has a relationship with. So it just makes sense to bring all of his friends to his podcast and have regular conversations. He don't change his stripes while he's doing it. He don't try to dress up in those suits or speak all eloquently or anything like that. Some of them, he's still smoking his weed and drinking at the same time. So for her to speak about him like this, she just sounds like a straight hater to me.
But that's so insane. How are you in a room with Alex Jones and thinking this is just somebody with a different opinion? How do you get there?
Disinformation is very powerful.
You get there by being somebody who also has his own free thoughts. Like, he has his own free thoughts. So for him to listen to somebody else, whether it's far right or far left, and he say, wow, this is just somebody with their own opinion. Bruh, let me tell you something. He's not trying to cozy up with Alex Jones. Alex Jones has his own journey, his own following, and his own rhetoric that he puts out there to his community of people that follow him. Joe Rogan has a much wider variety of people who follow him because he's not that stuck to the right or to the left. He is right where he needs to be so everybody can hear him. Sometimes he's going to say things that piss off the left. Sometimes he's going to say things that piss off the right. But at least he's saying whatever is true to him. That's what I respect about him. And again, she sounds like a hater.
Powerful, and it's everywhere, especially when, we're all so siloed. So, there's no competing narrative. There's nothing challenging. And also people want to hear what fits in with their beliefs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. The idea that somebody like Joe Rogan, who, has like the IQ of a turnip.
See, you see that right there? It's obviously Mary L. Trump. I don't know exactly who she is, but Trump is one of those names that, okay, she must be kin to Trump in some type of way. Donald Trump. When you say Trump, you ain't even gotta say his first name, but you'll have to search for Mary L. Trump. But here's the thing: when you start to attack someone's character simply because you don't agree with him, you're showing how little you know off top. You don't care to look into it or know any part of it, so just leave it alone. But if you do talk about, maybe she's trying to throw something out there so that he can respond back to her. Unfortunately, you're not going to get Joe Rogan to respond to you. Probably you might get us, the smaller creators, way smaller creators, to respond to you, but I don't know if Joe will, but he might.
Yeah.
Is so influential. Is kind of terrifying. And the other thing,
it's terrifying that he's
seems to be this narrative is, if you're on the left, if you are for the greater good, you don't really deserve to make money. You should do it all for free, and you should just be struggling financially. Only people.
Shut the hell up. That's just stupid as hell. If you're doing it for the greater good, you should not make any money. Come on. It's just ridiculous. Are they just running out of stuff to say? Are they new at podcasts? I'm believing that they are. They're just new at podcasting, and they're just trying to find some way to keep the conversation interesting. And I've lost interest like 15 minutes ago to what they're talking about.
People who are grifting and selling their souls should be rich. It's completely crazy.
Yeah, so you guys see that, you heard that, okay? This is a cope session. That's what you call that. That's a cope session from two angry liberal women, okay, who are probably upset that Trump is leading Biden in the polls. But in this cope session, they're mad that Joe Rogan has influence, right? Joe Rogan has a large audience and they don't, right? Which kind of backs up my theory in regards to why Joe Rogan gets so much hate and vitriol, so much backlash. The reason why is because a lot of these people in the media are simply jealous of him, right? They're jealous.
Facts. 1,000%. 1,000, man. They are jealous as hell of him. They are trying to figure out, how did he get in the position that he got in? And we're way funnier than him. We have more friends than him. You don't, and you're not. You don't, and you're not. People are something else, man. He's trying to cozy up to Alex Jones. No, that's what people do when they don't already have influence. They have to cozy up to other people with influence. Unfortunately for you, Kathy and Murray Trump, Joe Rogan don't have to do that. This dude don't have to cozy up to anybody at all. And that make them so hot. They are so upset about that. Honestly, I don't really like to consider people having haters and anything negative when it comes to relationships or lack thereof. But I have to acknowledge, again, and this will be the last time, Kathy, I'm not even going to speak on Murray or Trump. I don't know enough about her. But the way they both sound like some pure haters of Joe Rogan. Pure.
So the fact that Joe Rogan can gather a large audience and they can't, right? Because for them, okay, their whole grift is pushing the establishment and far left narrative. Okay, like for example, Mary Trump. Nobody would give a damn about what she has to say at all, unless she was the niece of the former president. Okay, if she did not have Trump in her name, she would never get on TV, right?
Ever. Nobody will even know who the hell she is. That's not nice. I'm sorry, Murray. That's not nice. You are a woman of God. I'm sure you would have had ambitions that would have led you to the big screen and people would know your name, okay? Even if it wasn't Trump. In this case, you're way out of your league when it comes to this conversation. Hopefully they understand that.
Right, nobody would care one bit about what she has to say. Her whole claim to fame, right, is literally being anti-Trump.
Thank you for pointing that out. She's using the free version of StreamYard. Y'all saw the daggone watermark? I was thinking that when I was watching it, but I didn't want to point that out. Why? Because, we were able to grow to more than 100,000 subscribers by using the free version of KindMaster. And the logo was right up here for KindMaster. It was right up here, right where my hand. Okay, I'm looking ridiculous right now, but we were using that. But TX Mustang just now pointed out that she's using the free version of StreamYards.
Right, waging a crusade against her uncle, which I personally believe is despicable. I mean, talk about selling out your family, right? She sold out her family name for money and fame on liberal networks like MSNBC, and she's still bitching and complaining about the fact that nobody gives a damn about what she has to say, that she can't get the same type of audience as Joe Rogan.
Who the hell is she to even believe that she has even the smallest possibility of getting the audience that Joe Rogan has? What has she done to get to that point or even get close to that point? Where does she go? Who does she communicate with? What is she doing as far as her talents and her gifts are concerned, and giving back to the community and giving back to the world, giving back to the country that way? What is she doing? Why should her name be out there right now? What has she done before she decided to come out with whatever information that Greg's talking about? Because I haven't heard that. What did she come out and say? She said, ooh, I'm an insider. Somebody pay me some big money on the opposite side and I'll tell you some juicy details of what happened last Thanksgiving in the Trump household. I'll tell you everything. Just give me some money and give me a little bit of limelight and the free version of StreamYard, and I got you. I'll tell you everything. All right? And also buy my book. I just now bought a book. Here's the thing, bro. That's a clout chaser. Mary, you are a clout chaser. Kathy, you are a washed up comedian, and unfortunately you didn't know how to pivot nearly as well as Joe Rogan did, and now you're a hater. So it's unfortunate that we are here, but we're here.
You're kind of like the head of the reason why I even went in this direction. A lot of us YouTubers point us in a direction of how to make better use of this platform.
Man, you just now made me smile when you brought up, being a father, focusing on what's real.
What brought me back, bro, was that everything that's right will be considered wrong in the end of days. I'm like, yo, the book of Revelations is hitting right now. This joint.
So I went and checked you out, and I was like, whoa, I've seen these before. This dude is doing Uber raps.
In the south that I live in, the liquor and pills are just way too appealing.
It was like, oh my gracious, what did it say? God dang it, I was in the car driving, saying this train over and over and over again, I promise you. So thank you, bro. I will have them looking at your channel.
You look very good for 44, my man.
All four of my kids graduated 4.0 or better. She held me down, and I said, one day, I'm gonna take care of you.